Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here to resume our session. We are going to continue where we left before lunch. We had the queries and comments from all committee members, and we gave the floor to the submitting state to give its clarification and to answer to the questions raised by committee members. And I think that it is the appropriate time for us now to move to the adoption of the decision, paragraphs by paragraph. We have draft decision 13-10B1 on the screen. Paragraph 1. No objection. Adopted. Paragraph 2. No comment. Adopted. Paragraph 3. We have had an amendment proposed by Guatemala. I see Colombia wishing to... Yes, Colombia.
Presidente, para apoyar la propuesta de Guatemala.
Kazakhstan, please.
We support this proposal too.
Poland, please.
So having listened to the clarification presented by Argentina, we would like to support this amendment.
Netherlands, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The Netherlands would like to thank the evaluation body for the evaluation of this file. We would also like to thank the state party for its elaborate answer. Having said that, we would, in this respect, like to refer to paragraph 22.4 of the Rules of Procedure, in which it is stated that representatives of a state party shall not speak to advocate the inclusion in the list, but should only provide information in reply to questions raised. The Netherlands feels that the committee should follow the rules of the procedure and, as much as possible, the advice of the evaluation body for benefit of improving the quality of files. We would like to reiterate that we are in no way discussing the value of the element itself. We are discussing the file at hand. In that respect, we welcome the remarks of the evaluation body on the referral option that gives the state party the opportunity to revisit the file and improve its quality, so that each file can serve as a showcase of intangible heritage. We therefore do not support the amendments posed by Guatemala.
Kuwait, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After listening to the state party reply, Kuwait would like to add its support for Guatemala draft amendment. Thank you.
Armenia.
We would like to join the proposal of Guatemala.
Austria.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and a great thanks to the Ambassador of Argentina for the information he provided before. But based on the file and based on the information, for me, some things are still not clear in the file, and this is why Austria supports the Netherlands. Thank you.
Palestine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't ask for the floor yet, but it's okay. I would like, again, with your permission, Mr. Chair, if possible, to listen to the evaluation body, because we listened, and I thank the representative of Argentina for the explanation given about the file. But I would like to have the feedback from the evaluation body on this clarification given, if it is satisfying for them or not. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Could we hear the chairperson of the evaluation body? I see Lebanon also wishes to...
Yeah, I just want to second the Ambassador of Palestine's proposal and thank the Argentinian representative for the explanations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. As indicated to you earlier, normally the work of the evaluation body is to go through information that is contained in the file. And when we examine this file, we realize that there are those criteria that were met and there are those which were not met, meaning there was some lack of information that we required, which was to assist us to determine, to assess whether that criteria was met. So the reply from Argentina was not different from the information on the file. It was more of emphasizing on information on the web link. And ours is not to go to the web link to get information. He also said that issues of the date of the inventory is in the website, but information on the file is not sufficient for us to determine that file, that criteria was met, even with the explanation that he gave. That is our position still. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Having heard all the committee members, I see that there is no broad consensus regarding the amendment proposed by Guatemala, and therefore we are going to adopt paragraph 3 in its original state. Paragraph 3 adopted. We now move to paragraph 4. Here also we have the amendment proposed by Guatemala and Netherlands. Yes, Colombia.
Presidente, apoyamos la propuesta de Guatemala. Gracias.
I'm wondering whether after we have accepted paragraph 3 in its original version, whether these amendments can stand on their own. Can we have the feeling of committee members? Mr. Secretary wishes to intervene at this juncture.
This is just to remind the floor that according to the operational directives for an element to inscribed, all 5 criteria must be positively evaluated. Thank you.
Thank you. Netherlands wishes to say something on that score?
I just wanted to repeat my previous statement that we do not support amendments.
I see that there is no broad consensus regarding the amendments, which means that we are going to have the original version. Paragraph 4 adopted as initially drafted. Paragraph 5. Cuba.
Gracias, señor presidente. Nuestra delegación ha seguido atentamente todas las intervenciones y esta ha sido una candidatura que ha suscitado muchas negociaciones al interior del comité y quizás por algunos detalles que hemos encontrado en el criterio 2, en el criterio 5 y quizás en incongruencias en el criterio 4, querría preguntar a la Secretaría si sería posible que este expediente no tuviera que recorrer los 2 años establecidos y pudiese presentarse un poco antes en espíritu de ese diálogo que hemos estado hablando durante todas nuestras sesiones del comité entre los miembros, sin ánimos de vulnerar el procedimiento, pero quizás a menos que quede recogido en su informe escrito o en su informe oral la posibilidad que el buró y el órgano de evaluación pudiera considerar nuevamente esta candidatura a fin de que sea completada la información que para algunos no ha sido suficiente en esta sesión. Muchas gracias.
I have Colombia and Palestine who wishes to intervene. Therefore, Colombia, Palestine and Philippines.
Gracias, presidente. Queremos respaldar la iniciativa que acaba de presentar la distinguida delegada de Cuba. Gracias, presidente.
Thank you. Palestine.
شكرا سيدي الرئيس وكي لا أطيل أنا فقط أريد أن أدعم المقترح من الوفد الكوبي. شكرا سيد الرئيس.
I would like to take the suggestion made earlier by Cyprus. If we have other committee members supporting a particular stand, could you just say so straight away so that we can save time? Philippines?
Thank you, Chair. We support what was mentioned by Cuba. Thank you.
You do support? Yes. Cyprus?
Pour ne pas les répéter, on est d'accord avec la Cuba, oui, tout à fait. Mais simplement, je voulais, puisque j'ai pris la parole, Juste pour annoncer à tout le monde que la réunion du bureau qu'on a eue hier et ce matin, nous avons pris une décision qu'on peut, entre les membres du bureau, je dis, pas tous les membres du comité, nous avons pensé qu'on peut donner la parole à un État membre pour l'ouverture du dossier, mais normalement, on n'accepte pas les amendements pour cette fois-ci. Donc, en effet, pour l'Argentine, on a écouté ce qu'il allait dire, mais simplement, on les renvoie pour l'année prochaine et on ne fait pas l'inscription de cette année. Et j'espère que ça passera pour tous les autres dossiers. Merci.
Thank you, Cyprus, for this clarification. Otherwise, we are going to, I see Lebanon and Colombia, but there is a request from Cuba, supported by 3 or 4 other members. I believe at this juncture, let us have the views of the Secretary, and then we move to Lebanon and Colombia. Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we are in a little bit of a legal and procedural bind. I fully understand the requirement or the desire, excuse me, to see these kinds of referrals come back in the next year. Nevertheless, we are bound by operational directives, and operational directives are established by the General Assembly. Operational Directive 36, in particular, says that nominations, proposals, or requests that the committee decides not to inscribe, select, or approve, or to refer to the submitting states for additional information may be resubmitted to the committee for examination during a following cycle, after having been updated and supplemented. My answer then to the question by Cuba is, our current understanding of the rules does not actually allow it. We are willing to look for, if there are interpretations that would allow it, we're not necessarily against the idea. The rules, as they stand, in the operational directives, and to our understanding, do not actually permit such a procedure. So, if I understand the question was whether we could look, whether it's through the Bureau or something, but we would have to get a proper legal interpretation of these rules. Our interpretation at the moment is, unfortunately, it does not actually allow for this to happen. Thank you.
Lebanon, do you still wish to intervene?
No, thank you. I think we got the answer, but I like to encourage looking into the rules to see if we can one day be fair with some countries to submit next year. Thank you.
Colombia?
And by some countries, I mean the files deserve that. Thank you.
Thank you. Colombia, do you wish to intervene at this juncture?
¿Cómo? Sí. Presidente, a Colombia le interesaría muchísimo, y sé que lo compartimos con otros países, que en este draft se incluya un reconocimiento al trabajo laborioso de la comunidad. Una cosa que sí queda demostrado en el expediente es que la comunidad está profundamente comprometida a este dossier, lo hizo la gente del chamamé, y queremos mandar un mensaje positivo de aliento para persistir en este dossier y tener, si es posible, el próximo año ya el dossier con todas las calidades que se requieren, si bien para Colombia es claro que esta expresión es parte de la lista. Tenemos una propuesta de frase, presidente, que si usted me permite la podemos incluir: un reconocimiento al trabajo de la comunidad y una voz de aliento para seguir adelante. Gracias, presidente.
Let me hear Palestine, by which time you can phrase your new amendment, tell us in which paragraph you want to add it, and we give time to the Secretariat to have it on the screen. Palestine, please.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. أولا اسمحوا لي أن أدعم المقترح الكولومبي للفور. ثانيا لدي ملاحظة وسؤال. I'll say it in English. it is unfortunate that we notice the absence of the legal advisor. Where is he? Well, this is the first thing. We'll listen to the Secretariat explanation after that. This was the first thing. Second thing, and this is the most important, I agree fully with what has been said by the Secretariat regarding the operational guidelines and the rules. But we know very well that there are some exceptions, and we did it at the opening of our session, and all the committee members supported, with no exception. So, could we follow this exceptional thing for once with the agreement of the committee? I do agree. If there is one opposition, then we can't follow this exception. Could we do an exceptional case for this element? But because we understood the interest of the communities concerned and the interest also of the country to safeguard and to promote this element. So could it be possible? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Guatemala, please.
Gracias, señor presidente. En primera instancia, pues lamentamos poco la carrera que se está agarrando el tema. Sin embargo, pues agradecemos también esa oportunidad de diálogo que se le dio al país de Argentina. Tal vez el almuerzo afectó un poco digamos, la dinámica y la continuidad. Siento yo que volvimos todos del almuerzo y ya no se dio chance o no se dio oportunidad tal vez de hacer un par de preguntas más. Siento yo que se fue poco limitando, digamos, la oportunidad de que Argentina hubiera podido contestar un par de preguntas más concretamente, ¿verdad? Si fuera posible, creo que como país tiene la oportunidad de pronunciarse. Por otro lado, dado que no hay consenso entre el comité, pues felicitamos la iniciativa de Cuba de poder hacer un reconocimiento a la comunidad que se involucró en este proceso, que seguramente están al pendiente qué va a suceder en esta asamblea. Nosotros que venimos, soy parte de una comunidad cachiquel de Guatemala, sabemos el sentir y el vivir de nuestra gente que practica las diferentes manifestaciones, pero lamentablemente se tiene que someter a una asamblea, ¿verdad? Así están dadas las reglas y las respetamos, sin embargo no la compartimos en el sentido de que la comunidad no va a poder recibir este reconocimiento a la lista representativa, ¿verdad?, de patrimonio intangible de la humanidad. Así que esperemos de que sí se le dé ese reconocimiento a la comunidad y se acorte el tiempo o el ciclo para que Argentina logre, digamos, este reconocimiento en el menor tiempo posible. Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
I wish to respond to the comment from Guatemala to state that we did not have any timer at that time, but according to my judgment, Argentina was given more than 15 minutes to intervene, and I emphasize on more than 2 occasions that the purpose is to answer to queries. And this point has been taken again by Netherlands. And I wish that to clear this out outright at this juncture when we are considering the very first application. And with these few words, I don't know if Colombia is ready with the amendment, but I see that we have Cuba who wants to intervene. I'll give the floor to Cuba.
Sí, gracias, señor presidente. Yo agradezco la explicación que nos dio la Secretaría. Conocemos y comprendemos que tenemos que respetar un marco legal que establece hasta hoy las directrices de la Convención. Estamos también, y yo creo que los contextos siempre son importantes, estamos también en un proceso de reflexión de un grupo de aspectos o elementos que debemos volver a revisar de nuestra joven convención, pero que es muy dinámica y que no estaría mal hacerlo. Yo creo que una opción que pueda emanar desde el Buró nos permitiría caminar en un marco legal aceptable, pero también que se tenga en cuenta la situación que se ha generado con esta candidatura, en particular por el simbolismo que tiene el chamamé, no solo para Argentina, sino para toda la región de América Latina y el Caribe. Entonces yo agradecería mucho que la Secretaría pudiera ayudarnos en una solución que, cubriendo el marco legal y sin ánimos de crear un precedente que después desestabilice el examen y el ciclo natural del comité, nos permita abrir una ventana para analizar de manera más flexible este expediente de Argentina. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Cuba. I believe that you are reiterating what you stated earlier. And I see that the legal advisor is here. I give him some time to settle down and to know exactly what is the issue over which we wish to have his learned views. But this doesn't prevent us from also having the draft of Colombia, if Colombia is ready with the draft, so that this also we can reflect, by which time we'll have the views of the legal advisor on the way proposed by Cuba. Colombia, please.
Bueno, sí, proponemos un nuevo párrafo en el que se diga lo siguiente, más o menos: se reconoce especialmente el histórico trabajo de las comunidades asociadas a esta manifestación, así como las instituciones implicadas en la construcción del expediente, y se espera la presentación de ese expediente en el futuro. Muy rápido. Nosotros ya entregamos esta enmienda a la Secretaría.
Yes, it is being included in the draft, which will appear shortly on the screen. But I take it that the Secretariat know exactly where we wish to add this new paragraph. If Colombia could please enlighten us on that score. Okay, I see it appears just after paragraph 4. Yes, Palestine.
شكرا سيدي الرئيس. إن وفد فلسطين يود أيضا دعم المقترح من كولومبيا وكوبا، وبعد ذلك إذا أمكن أن نستمع لرأي المستشار القانوني بخصوص الاستثناء لهذا الملف كي يتقدم في الدورة القادمة. شكرا.
Poland and Philippines.
We'd like to support this amendment or this point, having in mind that community deserves such a wording here.
Thank you, Poland. Philippines.
Thank you, Chair. Exactly in the same light, we actually work with Cuba and Colombia on the proposal. Thank you.
For being so brief and precise. Lebanon.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. لبنان يدعم التعديل هذا. شكرا.
Kuwait.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Also, Kuwait is supporting join the others for the submission, please.
Shukran. Azerbaijan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Azerbaijan also supports the proposal of Colombia.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan joins parties supporting this proposal.
Cyprus.
Chypre aussi appuie la proposition de Cuba. Merci.
Sénégal, Japan,
oui,
Austria.
Le Sénégal appuie l'amendement. Merci.
Jamaïque.
Jamaica also lends its support to the amendment.
Japan.
Japan also supports the amendment. Thank you.
Netherlands, Austria, China.
The Netherlands also supports the amendment. Thank you, Chair.
China.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we'd like to echo the previous speakers for
Austria.
support.
Yes, please also add Austria to the group.
Thank you. Guatemala and Sri Lanka.
Apoyamos la propuesta. Perdón.
We would like to support Sri Lanka.
Armenia.
We support too.
Thank you. Togo.
Le Togo est aussi favorable à cet amendement.
Merci beaucoup. Therefore, move to include a new paragraph just after paragraph 4 as proposed by Colombia, no, Cuba. It was whom? No, proposed by Colombia, and supported by all those countries which appears on the screen. Please, could you please check if any of the names have not been included so that we can right now cue any possible omission. Thank you. New paragraph 5 adopted. May we, at this juncture, refer to our legal advisor, whom by now should have been made aware of a suggestion from Cuba regarding how to deal with this referral and whether there is any possibility, together with the consent of committee members, to have this file referred before waiting for 2 years. This is my understanding of the wish of Cuba and quite a few other members of the committee. Mr. Legal Advisor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for allowing the time for me to look into this matter. I understand that the Secretariat has already provided advice on this matter, and the interpretation of the Secretariat, which I support from a legal standpoint. And in this regard, I refer to Article 36 of the operational directives, according to which nominations proposal request that the committee decides not to ascribe, select, or approve, or to refer to the submitting state for additional information may be resubmitted to the committee for examination during a following cycle after having been updated and supplemented. I would also like to say that I agree with the Secretariat when he explained that there is no provision to actually suspend this rule, and that the operational directives have been approved by the General Assembly. So I trust that response to the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Legal Advisor, for enlightening the committee on the actual situation. And I believe that what has been stated by the Legal Secretary is now clear to everybody. And can we move to consider the subsequent paragraph? Cuba wishes to intervene at this juncture.
Gracias, señor presidente. Nos hemos visto en situaciones similares en otras de las convenciones de la UNESCO. Me refiero a la de Patrimonio Mundial, en la que quizás hay veces como alternativa o ha estado al menos en el debate, se ha decidido no utilizar ninguno de los 4 términos que define una inscripción o no inscripción, y pudiese buscarse un lenguaje en el párrafo 4 que, sin decir que se esté inscribiendo, porque no se está inscribiendo, podríamos decir que otra formulación que no utilice ninguno de esos 4 términos definidos por las directrices operativas. Quizás sería un párrafo mucho más general, para que quizás esa alternativa, no sé si desde el punto de vista legal nos permitiría una formulación que dé espacio al buró y al comité examinar previamente esta candidatura. Es una pregunta y también me gustaría saber si la Secretaría ve alguna alternativa a nivel del buró, o sea, si la Secretaría define o identifica alguna alternativa a nivel de buró que permita un análisis sobre la posibilidad de avanzar este examen. Lo dejo en sus manos, no queremos extender mucho más el debate, pero esas serían las dos opciones. Una, tratar de buscar otra formulación que no contemple ninguno de los 4 términos que define las directrices operativas para dar un margen más abierto a una revisión anterior. Y la otra, si la Secretaría identifica alguna solución a nivel de su informe oral, informe escrito o el buró, que deje abierto un espacio para poder actuar en este sentido. Muchas gracias.
But I believe that we have already adopted paragraph 4. At this juncture, I believe we have already adopted paragraph 4. Cuba.
Gracias, señor presidente. Esta sesión se ha caracterizado en que hemos violentado muchos procedimientos desde el primer día, cosa que me parece bien porque la vida es flexible. Es verdad que aprobamos el 4, pero no hemos aprobado toda la decisión y jurídicamente hasta que no se aprueba toda la decisión pueden surgir modificaciones. Estamos en sus manos, no queremos prolongar el debate, pero esta ha sido una sesión muy especial y creo que en ánimos de la cooperación y eso que queremos que el mundo vea que es la UNESCO, podemos dar un paso en este sentido.
May I just ask the Secretariat, in the light of what has been stated by committee members and the feelings of the committee members and also the ruling given by the legal advisor, what are the options that are available before us at this juncture concerning 10B1, which I see that we have got a feeling that we should explore all possibility of having this file reconsidered at the earliest. And I would like to have the views of the Secretariat on the various options that can be explored.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I'm not sure of various options. I'm willing to hear them, but I think this issue has come up during some of the discussions of the informal working group, and we did look for options. We didn't find any in that sense. If particular wording, however, as was mentioned by the chair, the paragraph 4 has already been adopted. The issue, and you did mention another mechanism, and without wanting to speak on behalf of legal affairs, but the operational directives in this convention are established by the General Assembly. In the 1972 convention, the committee has authority over them. And this was the answer we found. So it's difficult for me now to have, if you have a suggestion or an extra paragraph, we could then explore legally, but I don't have an option and this paragraph has been adopted. Maybe something in the chapeau, I'm not sure. But unless you want to suggest something, it's difficult at this stage. We've tried to look at it. This is clearly for me, part of these discussions that have been going on about dialogue and looking at different ways of doing it, to have the option of the 1-year referral. I will point one thing is that the language is not to inscribe. It is not a rejection. It is a referral. The file is referred and not rejected. It is not a no. I think it is important to remember that the file is not rejected by the committee. Thank you.
I don't know what is the feeling of the members. If we feel that we should be given some time to reflect on this particular draft, can we, at this juncture, suspend on 10B1 and we proceed on the other applications, by which time we try to see if there is any means by which we can try to secure what we want to secure. I see Colombia.
Muchas gracias, presidente, por propiciar este diálogo y permitirlo. Estamos en la misma línea de Cuba y en la misma línea de las solicitudes que Cuba hace, digamos, a la Secretaría en el sentido de apoyarnos en una solución que nos permita tener un año para que Argentina presente el dossier. También desde Colombia damos toda la cooperación que sea posible para trabajar un año con Argentina y lograr que esta nominación llegue el próximo año y sea incluida en la lista de patrimonio inmaterial. Gracias, presidente, por su ayuda en esta tarde.
Do I take it then that we are going to move to 10B2 and come back again to 10B1? If that is the wish of the committee, and since we have our legal advisor here, if this is in order, and if the secretary can just enlighten us.
Mr. Chairperson, we've had a specific request which we cannot just answer like this straight away. We would need some time to look. I will be straightforward. We did look and didn't find. We will try again to look. At this stage, if you suspend this particular item, perhaps we can work with the legal advisor and go to the room and see if there's anything we can come up with. In that sense, I might absent myself and ask my colleague or a colleague to take my place. We will see what may be, but I...
May I suggest that there is a proverb in French which says, "La nuit porte conseil." And we try to give us some more time to reflect during the night, and also a cup of some beer or some whiskey, which at times helps. And we are going to come back to it tomorrow morning. Therefore, can we move now to consider the nomination of Austria, Czechia, Germany, Hungary, and Slovakia regarding the nomination of Bladruk, Modrotisk, Kekfestes, Modral Tlak, resist block printing, and indigo dyeing in Europe. Southern apologies for everybody for having, I'm sure, not pronounced it properly. And may I, at this juncture, invite
the
chairperson of the evaluation body to present the findings of the body.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our next file is Bladruk, Modrotisk, Kekvestes, Modrotlak, racist block printing and indigo dyeing in Europe, submitted by Austria, Czechia, Germany, Hungary, and Slovakia. Bladruk, Modrotisk, Kekvestes, Modrotlak is a practice of printing a dye-resistant paste onto a cloth before dyeing over it with the indigo dye. The paste prevents the dye from penetrating the design, thus ensuring the applied design remains white or undyed after the dyeing process. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfied all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. So the evaluation body considered that the element has a strong regional diversity reflected in the patterns and technical skills, comprising a set of techniques that are continuously recreated through experimental workshops, open source approaches, and new technologies. The element posts a constant recreation of traditional motifs and skills by highlighting the intrinsic link established between living heritage and a diverse range of fields such as history, biology, chemistry, art, and design. The safeguarding measures focuses on transmission, protection, documentation, and promotion of the element through educational programs. The community is concerned and a wide range of stakeholders actively participated in the nomination process through workshops. The evaluation body wishes to commend the state parties for submitting an excellent file where each submitting state appears to have contributed in a balanced manner and that demonstrates active networking among communities in the preparation of the nomination and the overall safeguarding of the element. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe broadrock, modrotisk, cakefestis, modrotlack, racist block printing, and indigo dyeing in Europe on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair of the evaluation body. If there is no comment from members of the committee, may I now ask that we adopt the draft decision as shown on the screen. Therefore, we propose to adopt draft decision 13-10B2 as a whole. I see no objection. Adopted. Congratulations to all the submitting states, Austria, Czechia, Germany, Hungary, and Slovakia. And I understand that we are going to have a short video. And I don't know among the submitting states whether there is going to be a statement. We sort out an issue on the sound, and then we come back to the video. And could we, by then, give the floor to the submitting states and to whoever wishes to take the floor at this juncture? Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished members of the committee, dear colleagues, first of all, we would like to thank the host country, the Republic of Mauritius, for organizing our session and for the warm hospitality we are witnessing. We are very happy that the blueprint has been added to the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Living heritage, including traditional craftsmanship, do not know exact borders, and we are very proud that this project of joint transboundary nomination has been developed by our 5 neighboring countries from heart of Europe. The involvement of all stakeholders, the exchanges between the blueprint communities, and the support and promotion of this element on regional and state level have been the basis for successful international cooperation, for which I should like to extend my sincere thanks to all my colleagues.
Blueprint, also called blue dyeing, is a phenomenon that connects 5 submitting countries and its communities. It perfectly illustrates how intangible cultural heritage is shared across borders and how it can be a spring for international cooperation and mutual respect.
This multinational nomination provided an opportunity for blue dyers and experts to deepen cooperation among the 5 countries, culminating in their renewed commitment to safeguard this common heritage. Since blue dyeing tradition is mostly transmitted within the family, its survival depends on family workshops. On the national level, museums and NGOs support these workshops, whereas local and international festivals, exhibitions, and shows provide networking opportunities for masters. Textile designers have a crucial role to play in making blue-dyed products attractive for younger generations so that future generations may appreciate the value of this tradition.
We would like to highlight the communities of practitioners from all state parties whose sense of identity as blueprinting masters have been strengthened through the nomination process. From communities, they have become one community, and they continue to cooperate on various levels. Moreover, they call themselves a family, which is important foremost for the countries where there are just few workshops or even one single master left.
We hope that the strength and visibility of the element will continue to inspire and connect. And in order to further promote the element and to foster dialogue and cooperation, we hope that many countries will follow our invitation to participate in an international exhibition of indigo textiles, which will illustrate the wide range of sustainable blue dyeing techniques that have been developed by generations of artisans in many countries around the world. Thank you again, and in this spirit, I'm looking forward now to celebrating later with a glass of blue Mauritius rum.
Thank you very much. And congratulations for the blue dyers. And I see here different tones of blue. I don't know if you had gave yourselves the time. Everybody is in blue. Thank you very much. Congratulations to each and every one. And I hope that by now we are ready with a small video.
Azért nagyon fontos, mert nagyon szeretnénk, hogy az egész világ megismerje ezt a különleges szakmát.
Naozaj taký akože životný štýl a pre mňa aj naplnenie nejakého životného sna, čo je vlastne vtipné, že už...
Da ist man dabei, man wächst damit auf und so geht das irgendwie ins Blut über.
Für uns Teil des Lebens.
It's incorrect just to call it blue. It's much more than that.
Congratulations again. After this family photograph, we will move now to the examination of the nomination of Heritage of Dede, Kogud, Koritz Atla, Dede Korut, Epic Culture, Folk Tales and Music, where again we have a joint submission by Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan and Turkey. I would like to invite the chairperson of the evaluation body to present its findings to the committee members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. And the next file is Heritage of Dede Kurkud, Korkut Ata, Dede Kurkut, Epic Culture, Folk Tales and Music, submitted by Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Turkey. The heritage of Dede Kurkud is centered on 12 heroic regions, stories, and tales, and 13 traditional musical compositions shared and transmitted across the generations through oral expressions, performing arts, cultural codes, and musical compositions. It is practiced and sustained by the community concerned on a wide variety of occasions during family events, national and international festivals. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfied all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that heritage of Dede Kurkud conveys the history and common values of Turkic-speaking communities, thereby contributing to their sense of identity and belonging. The element symbolizes a strong tool for transferring the values of courage, mutual respect, and tolerance to younger generations as it stimulates exchanges and enhances intercultural cooperation among countries which identify themselves with a cross-border practice. The proposed shared safeguarding plan involved close cooperation between the communities of the practitioners represented by the relevant NGOs and the state authorities to be implemented jointly at the national level. The nomination was initiated by the communities and the bearers in collaboration with NGOs and national authorities during various discussions through a series of working group meetings. The evaluation body takes note of the speed of the nomination process, 6 weeks, described in the file, and encourages submitting states for future nominations to allow sufficient time for a deep and a wide community participation in the process. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe heritage of Dede Kurkud, Korkut Ata, Dede Kurkud, epic culture, folk tales, and music on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson of the evaluation body, for this detailed explanation of the different issues raised by this application, joint application. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt the draft decision as shown on the screen as a whole. Armenia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm very sorry, but I have to take the floor again with due respect to you and also to the committee members. We would like to make the following statement regarding the item 10b3 on the agenda, namely regarding the content submitted by Azerbaijan in paragraph D and paragraph 5.6. The provocative reference to some regions herein, Karabakh and others, by default gives a very clear political connotation to the Azerbaijani part of the nomination, thus revealing the real motivation behind it. It mentions that element is practiced and transmitted by communities in these regions, and that the file was prepared with the participation of the number of these communities, but presents just consent letters of 3 NGO organizations, and none from the mentioned communities. With due respect to the professionalism of the evaluation body experts, we request them to carefully examine community involvement, emphasis of the consent letters, and other very sensitive issues while considering the files. Unfortunately, these issues result in future political and biased reports and overall misuse of the UNESCO platform for extending dividing lines in the sphere of culture and for building bridges of peace. We are surprised to see inconsistency and factual errors in nominations and reports of the state. Earlier, they claimed that have no access to the mentioned regions, just yesterday in their Chofkant report, and now they present the participation and involvement of these communities. They need to make up their mind and stop manipulating the committee and the evaluating body and falsifying the facts. We note that this nomination contains politicized and very sensitive sections, which will result in presentation of future ungrounded, false, inappropriate, and political implementation reports, further complicating UNESCO's agenda, as we have unfortunately witnessed. Armenia reiterates its principled position on unacceptability of misusing the platform of the UNESCO to promote any conflict-related perceptions. We kindly ask the Secretariat to officially take note of our position and include our statement in the summary records of the session and reject the draft decision due to the above-mentioned reasons only. Thank you.
We take note of the statement of Armenia, and we propose now to adopt the draft decision as shown on the screen. I see no objection. Adopted. Congratulations to all submitting states. May I now invite submitting states to make a statement or to share with us a video, if any. Azerbaijan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't want to respond to again to these allegations. I think it is already clear and the committee already witnessed what is going on, so I leave it to the committee to judge. We express our deep gratitude to the evaluation body and to the committee for inscribing this heritage of Dede Gorgud on the representative list. We appreciate the efforts of Kazakhstan and Turkey for the excellent cooperation in preparation of this nomination. It is indeed an excellent multinational nomination, which again testifies that the regional cooperation and the cultural heritage brings the communities together. The inscription of the Dede Gorgud heritage on the representative list will allow for greater dialogue between communities of submitting states, as many people of all ages identify themselves with this heritage. The Dede Gorgud celebrates the unity and diversity of the heritage for the sake of peace and mutual respect. This inscription will stimulate further exchanges between countries and enhance intercultural cooperation, one of the core principles of the 2003 Convention. It is a moment of particular pride for us, as the legends and tales of Dede Gorgud still resonate in the memory of many Azerbaijanis. Dede Gorgud epic promotes family values, role of women in society, sharing, solidarity, hospitality, fairness and honesty, and this inscription is a tribute to these values and traditions. We would like to thank again the committee and evaluation body for this excellent job and careful analysis of this multinational nomination, and look forward to other joint nominations with the countries of our region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Azerbaijan. May I now invite Turkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Since first time we are taking floor, we would like to thanks to Mauritius for a warm welcome and congratulate for you for your successful efforts. Distinguished delegates of states parties, the Korkut culture is still kept alive in today's Turkey with its wise expression of process and composers of the verses in music tradition, various beliefs, and social practices. Values like generosity, hospitality, brave, mercy, solidarity mentioned in the Korkut epics have an important role for a cultural dialogue, mutual understanding, and building peace between all segments of society. The Korkut culture still is practiced in all geographical locations of Turkey. Therefore, on the behalf of Turkish people, the delegation of Turkey thanks to the committee and evaluation body. We would like to also particularly thank our stakeholders, Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan, for the great efforts of preparation process of the nomination file. Finally, as a delegation of Turkey, we hope that inscription will support the visibility of the convention among not just Turkic-speaking communities, but also increase the dialogue and create interaction opportunity amongst all builders and practitioners who related to epic culture in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Turkey. Now we have a live performance from Kazakhstan. Oh, I believe that our friends from Kazakhstan wishes to introduce the artist.
Thank you. A short statement as well. We'll try to be really brief. Dear Chairman, dear members of the committee, Kazakhstan sincerely thanks everyone for your kind support, as well as Azerbaijan and Turkey for their valuable collaboration and work on this nomination. Now let me give floor to a representative from a region strongly associated with Korkut Ata's heritage, and I will translate her statement.
Құрметті төраға, құрметті комитет мүшелері, біз түркі халықтарының ұлы ойшылы, абыз Қорқыт Атаның мәңгілік мекен тапқан жері Қазақстанның оңтүстік батыс аймағындағы Қызылорда облысы атынан қатысып отырмыз. Осы орайда біз сіздерге қазақтың бүкіл Қорқытты, бүкіл адамзат баласының игілігіне айналуына, танылғандығына үлкен алғысымызды білдіреміз. Біздер қазақтар Қорқытты әлемдегі ең ежелгі аспаптардың бірі қобызды ойлап тапқан, дүниеге әкелген және музыка тілінде сөйлеткен тұлға ретінде танимыз. Сондықтан да біздер бүгін сіздерге Қазақстаннан сол Қорқыттың күйін ала келдік. Рұқсат етсеңіздер, сол Қорқыт күйін насихаттаушы, жеткізуші Мақсат Мұхамеджановтың орындауында тыңдасаңыздар.
Dear Chairperson, dear members of the committee, I represent the Kızılorda Oblast, a region in the southeast west of Kazakhstan, along the great Central Asian river of Sirdarya. And we consider ourselves to be a place of origin of Korkut Ata, also known as Dede Gorgut. We sincerely appreciate the inclusion of Korkut's legacy into the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Kazakhs consider Korkut Ata to be an inventor of qobuz, which is one of the world's oldest string instruments. Now we would like to present you a small piece from one of Korkut Ata's compositions, which will be played for you by one of our region's prominent performers of qobuz, Mr. Maksat Muhamedjan. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations once again. We will now move to the examination of the nomination of Strawcraft in the Bahamas, submitted by Bahamas. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body for him to share with us their findings. Chairperson of the evaluation body, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our next file is Strawcraft in Bahamas, submitted by Bahamas. The Strawcraft in the Bahamas involves the hand production of strawcraft plates and weaves by local inhabitants using traditional plating and weaving methods. Strawcraft in Bahamas is considered as a dynamic component of the resourceful, resilient spirit of Bahamians and has played an intricate role in the economy of the highlands. From the information included in the file, the nomination is not sufficient to satisfy criteria 1, RE1, RE2, RE3, and RE4 for inscription on the representative list. Instead of explaining the cultural significance of the practice, the file stresses its economic dimension and its role as a product of a creative industry. It also concentrates on promoting the craft as a stable brand of the country and a source of pride, rather than explaining how its inscription could raise the feasibility of living heritage in general, encourage dialogue among communities, and promote respect for cultural diversity and creativity. The safeguarding plan does not reflect the unstable situation of the strawcraft as far as the cultural and social meanings and transmission to future generations are concerned. Instead, it appears to promote the element as an economic activity that involves the production and marketing of crafts. The file fails to demonstrate how the practitioners and local communities participated in preparing the safeguarding plan, how they will be involved in its implementation, and how they participated in the nomination process. Further, the evaluation body considered that the information does not satisfy criteria RE5. Although the state party has declared its interest in safeguarding the strawcraft as an important element of intangible cultural heritage through Straw Market Authority Act since 2011, however, the state party does not manage an inventory in accordance with Article 11 and Article 12 of the Convention. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends to the committee not to inscribe strawcraft in Bahamas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omare, for this explanation on this particular file. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore request committee members to adopt the draft decisions as shown on the screen as a whole? Are we going to listen? I see no objection. The draft decision 13-10 before adopted. We will now move to the examination of the nomination Rickshaw and Rickshaw painting in Dhaka, submitted by Bangladesh. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body to share with us the findings of the body. Mr. Chairperson, Mr. Omare, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is Rickshaws and Rickshaw painting in Dhaka, submitted by Bangladesh. Rickshaw craftsmanship is a traditional practice of fashioning and decorating the rickshaw, a human-propelled mode of transport on 3 wheels. The element is part of Dhaka city's cultural tradition, which not only provides the communities, groups, and individuals concerned with a state source of income and employment, but also offers them a sense of pride, unity, and continuity. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies criteria R1 for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that rickshaws and rickshaw painting in Dhaka constitute a significant part of the city's cultural tradition, which simultaneously embodies important cultural meaning through the creative depiction of symbols, natural sceneries, historical events, and contemporary themes. As an environment-friendly means of transportation, rickshaws also contribute to sustainable development. However, the evaluation body considered that the information is not sufficient to assess criteria RE2, RE3, RE4, and RE5. The file fails to clearly demonstrate how the inscription will contribute to encouraging dialogue among communities and raising awareness of the importance of intangible cultural heritage in general at the local, national, and international level. The safeguarding measures concentrate mainly on intangible components of the element, its documentation and promotion, while less attention is paid to safeguarding its social and cultural meanings. It's not clear how the communities, groups, and individuals concerned were involved in identifying, divining the element, and their participation in the nomination process. Further, the regular updating mechanisms, including its mode, periodicity, and community participation, is not explained. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends that the committee refers rickshaws and rickshaw painting in Dhaka to the submitting state. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. The Bureau did not receive any request for amendment as such, but we received a request for debate from Sri Lanka without amendment. And I see Palestine wishing to take the floor. Sri Lanka also wishes to take the floor. And Kazakhstan. I'll start with Sri Lanka.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Sri Lanka is taking the floor for the first time, let me thank Mauritius for their fabulous welcome and wonderful arrangements. We also thank member states for electing Sri Lanka to the committee. We thank also the UNESCO Secretariat for providing assistance to have a subject expert in our delegation to this meeting. Excellencies, delegates, and ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka proposed that the nomination of Bangladesh be open for the discussion. We appreciate very much evaluation body for its thorough and rigorous analysis of the nomination provided by Bangladesh. The aim of our intervention is not to question or challenge the decision of the evaluation body, and therefore we are not proposing any amendments to the decision. We understand that this element represents a vital form of art and way of life of the urban working class of Bangladesh that contributes to the rich diversity of living culture of Bangladesh. As the nominating party has communicated to us some concerns, we thought that opening of the file for discussion will avail opportunity for the members of the committee to express their views and such concerns. We sincerely hope that a dialogue as such will help the nominating party to revisit the nomination. We request that Bangladesh be given the floor to express their views on R2, R3, and R5. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Lanka. We have got on our list here Palestine, Kazakhstan, Philippines, Japan. Palestine, please.
شكرا سيد الرئيس، وسوف أكون مقتضبا، لكن أود فقط التذكير بأن ما يحصل اليوم وما حصل قبل قليل مع ملف الأرجنتين هو بسبب غياب الحوار. هي مشكلة حقيقية، وهذا يبين ضرورة الحوار بين الدول الأطراف والهيئة التقييمية. لذلك نحن أيضا ندعم مقترح سريلانكا بفتح الحوار حول هذا الملف. وأريد فقط أن أذكر بما جاء من قبل وفد قبرص بخصوص الاتفاقية التي تمت بين أعضاء المكتب، حيث أنه تم الاتفاق على فتح النقاش على أي ملف عندما يتم الطلب من قبل الدولة الطرف، وذلك بسبب غياب الحوار. لكن تم الاتفاق أيضا كما ذكرت الزميلة قبل قليل بأنه تم الاتفاق على فتح الملفات للحوار، ولكن الامتناع عن تقديم أي تعديلات للملفات التي تحتوي على أكثر من معيارين غير مستوفيين، ولذلك نحن نود السماع للدولة الطرف. شكرا سيد الرئيس.
Thank you, Palestine. May I now ask Kazakhstan to take the floor?
Thank you, Chairman. Despite certain shortages in the file which were raised by the evaluation body, we regard the nomination itself as very interesting and valuable. Therefore, we support Sri Lanka's proposal to open the file for a debate. In this relation, I would like to ask how the state party, namely Bangladesh, plans to respond to the comments of the evaluation body, especially in regards to the participation of communities practicing this element of the intangible cultural heritage. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Kazakhstan, may I request Philippines to take the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Like other files that received referral recommendations from the evaluation body, it appears that the state party had a difficult time to provide a clear answer on R2. We reiterate support for review and reformulation of Criterion R2, and due to the limit in the number of words per answer, the state party was not able to elaborate comprehensive responses to R3, R4, and R5. As we have been stating, matters related to the consent of the communities and inventory could be addressed upstream in a technical manner. For instance, the state party could have been reminded at an earlier stage to secure an updated expression of consent from communities and not resubmit the 2013 consent form. On R5, the state party can be provided clearer guidance on inventories through dialogue and capacity building. The state party may wish to submit requests for international assistance on this regard. On R3, we share the view that a more detailed plan with a timeline and budget estimate could be useful. In conclusion, we agree that Rickshaw and Rickshaw painting constitute intangible cultural heritage. We concur with the recommendation of the evaluation body to refer the nomination of the element at this time so that the state party can further improve the nomination with a view to its future inscription. We support the request for the state party to take the floor to respond to the recommendations of the evaluation body. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippine. In fact, I have two committee members who wishes to intervene on my list, Japan and Azerbaijan, and thereafter we'll give the floor to Bangladesh to comment and to share with us their views. Japan, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. And first of all, I'd like to express the very strong sympathy to Bangladesh and high appreciation of the value of this file, this element, because rickshaw is a Japanese word too, and in Japanese, rik means power and show means the vehicle, and we call it the jin rickshaw. Jin means human, so we call it the human power vehicle, and we have actually exactly the same things in Japan. But besides such a personal and maybe national sentiment, I think this case gives us a lot of lessons which we have to address in the process of reflection. And I agree with my colleague from Palestine that we should address the way of the dialogue between the nominators and evaluation body. But at the same time, once again, I'd like to just suggest this point that evaluating body properly instructed. I mean, this is the point that we have to visit in the process of reflection, both in the modality of evaluation and, in the previous file we discussed about the, if we should allow the access to the internet information or not. And also, maybe, there are many other points, actually. I don't like to go into details. But, so, in sum, I think, we have to address both points, that the modality of dialogue and consultation, but as well as the instruction given to the evaluators based upon the operational guidelines and aid member. Thank you.
Thank you, Japan. May I request Azerbaijan?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Azerbaijan would like to thank Bangladesh for submitting this file on the vibrant heritage of rickshaws and the rickshaw painting in Dhaka. Our delegation was particularly interested to discover an example of folk art and craftsmanship that has been transmitted from generation to generation in urban setting. We also note with appreciation the environmental aspect of this urban heritage, as the rickshaws are indeed a very environment-friendly mode of transport, and it's interesting to see the case where culture contributes to environmental sustainability. Regarding R2 and R3 criterion, our delegation would like to hear the information from the state party. Regarding the R4 criterion, our delegation has carefully studied the sections under Criterion 4 of the nomination file. Though we agree that more structured and detailed information under each of the subsections could have been provided, we have found some information that could possibly respond to the concerns raised by the evaluation body. The issue of who is entitled to represent communities and why has been debated by the committee many times during its previous sessions. With the both section 4A and 4B, we think that the information of community participation is complementary, and we tend to interpret that the representatives of Dhaka City Rickshaw Hood Body Maker Welfare Association and Association of the Rickshaw Artists, from whom consent letters have been provided, were the ones referred to in section 4A, and they were indeed the ones representing the community. With regard to the issues of the community participation, our delegation considered that some parts of the information provided under section 5 were quite relevant to reply to the concerns raised by the evaluation body. This section speaks in particular about the approach of experts to undertake intensive fieldwork while carrying out inventorying, which implies direct contact and dialogue with the bearers and practitioners. We believe this information would be sufficient. This being said, our delegation would support changing the draft decision under this criterion from referral to positive. Thank you.
I have China and Lebanon. China, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief. My delegation do not have the intention to return the evaluation suggestions by the evaluation body, but we do have some very interesting observations on this nomination submitted by Bangladesh. According to description of the elements, it has already become an established part of the city's cultural tradition, creating a feature of urban life in Dhaka city. This reminds us of one of the topics that the committee has discussed during the previous days, that is the icy edge in urban context. So having said this, we agree with the previous speakers, with the distinguished delegates of Philippines, such as Philippines and Palestine, that the submitting state do need some more time, and they could need to enhance their capacity building on the nominations, and so that their elements could be considered for future cycle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, China. May I now ask Lebanon to take the floor.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. أحب فقط التأكيد على أهمية الحوار، ونلاحظ أن عدد كبير من الملفات تقع المشكلة في عدم التواصل بين الهيئة التقييمية والدول، ونتمنى لو نمضي وقت أطول في التفكير ومحاولة إيجاد آلية لذلك. شكرا.
Thank you to all committee members who have intervened and who expressed their views on the need for dialogue. May I now kindly invite the submitting state, Bangladesh, who requested for opening of the debate, to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the members of the committee for allowing this opportunity to share our thoughts on the evaluation body's recommendation. I think at the very outset, I would like to convey our appreciation to the evaluation body for doing a very thorough job with all the files that have been submitted for its consideration. We have full confidence and faith in the work of the evaluation body, and one aspect which demonstrates their diligence is the 70% of the files that got their positive nodding is a number significant enough. Having said that, I'm also very grateful to the members of the committee to have raised a certain very pertinent question with regard to the submission that Bangladesh has made. I believe one element that has become very, very clear during the past 2 days conversation on the issue of reporting is that the absence of dialogue perhaps is one major element which could possibly bridge the gap between the evaluation body and the submitting committee. There's also a strong need for capacity building in many of our countries where our submissions do not meet the exact language perhaps at times, or does not fit the technicalities of submitting. It's possibly a very straitjacket sort of approach, and I'm not criticizing that, but perhaps that is what is intended and looked at. Few of the comments that the evaluation body has made perhaps have a very stronger argument there. But some of them have been very minor. For example, the question raised with regard to R3, R4, that the community consent was backdated. There has been a story behind this submission. This was first filed in 2013, was again asked to resubmit in 2017. And when the submission was made, it was clearly advised to us that if there is no substantial revision to the documentation, you do not need to provide new documentation. The consent letter that was given by the community representatives were the same group of people holding the same position as in 27. So that there was no felt need for us to obtain a fresh consent later. I mean, these appears to be a very trivial issue, but perhaps very significant when the evaluation board body takes the file into consideration. 100 words, 150 words, perhaps at times are also very difficult to summarize in a very concise way. English is certainly not the native language of Bangladesh. We could have deficiencies in expression. So that again becomes an issue. Taken together, even if we look at the assertion that the study, the national inventory, was not based, it was based on an earlier inventory and was not updated. As a matter of fact, this was altogether a fresh study that was made into 2015, 2016, and then submitted in 2017. However, these were minor things that could have been sorted out, could have been clarified, could have been explained better, and we would, at this point of time, have been better off having 2 observations rather than 4. Now, having said that, I would like to reiterate that we in Bangladesh place great importance to the Intangible Cultural Heritage Convention. Our being signatory to it, we have a greater consciousness and awareness as to the safeguarding these national elements, which once registered in the list of intangible cultural heritage for humanity, will certainly provide greater visibility and would create a greater sense of responsibility and awareness, both on the part of the community as well as the state, to provide enough safeguard for its continuity. We had only requested for having a discussion. We were very conscious of the fact that the 4 observation or 4 deficiency that we have in the file, there must have been enough reason for the evaluation body to contend that. We had not wanted to seek any amendment to it, for the simple fact that we would like to improve upon our file next time around in the next cycle when we come. But we just want to highlight and flag this point that there is a need for dialogue that must be looked into very seriously. There is a need for capacity building, both in terms of understanding the criteria that are set. Perhaps that could be one reason where our responses had not been up to the mark. But at the same time, the support from the Secretariat, from the evaluation board, from the international community, to improve our capacity and make us file our nominations as perfectly as possible. I would again like to thank the members of the committee for their indulgence and allowing us to make our point across. We hope to come back in the next cycle with a better submission, a more clearer submission, and we hope that the same diligence and compassion that the evaluation body had put behind all the other files would do that. I thank you, sir, and thank you all.
Thank you, Bangladesh, for putting your case before the committee members and all interested parties, and I'm sure that each and every one took good note of what you stated, and that things will go in the right direction, as we say, inshallah, next time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates. I believe it is now the proper time for us to adopt the draft decision as shown on the screen. We are going to adopt the draft decision as a whole. If there is no objection, I see no objection. Draft decision 13-10B5 adopted. We will now move to the examination of the nomination celebration in honor of Budslav, icon of Our Lady, Budslav Fest from Belarus. And I'll now once again request the chairperson of the evaluation body to present to us the finding of the body. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is celebration in honor of the Budslav icon of Our Lady, Budslav Vest, submitted by Belarus. Since the 17th century, every year on the first weekend of July, tens of thousands of pilgrims from all over Belarus and other countries participate in the celebration of Budslav Vest in honor of Budslav icon of Our Lady. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that celebration in honor of Budslav icon of Our Lady is an important religious and cultural event which unites people of different backgrounds and age groups. The Budslav Vest represents a general tradition of tolerance and mutual respect, which could be inspirational internationally, and will enhance intercultural and interfaith dialogue and promote cultural diversity. The proposed safeguarding measures aims at documenting and disseminating information concerning the element, especially among children and youth. The nomination file was prepared with the active participation of the local community, pilgrims, experts, and other relevant stakeholders who partook in a series of roundtable discussions. The evaluation body wishes to commend the state party for the improved file following the referral of this nomination in 2016. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe celebration in honor of the Budslav icon of Our Lady, Budslav Vest, on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt the draft decision as shown on the screen as a whole. No objection? Adopted. Congratulations to Belarus. Pleasure now to invite Belarus to share with us their feelings and to address the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dear participants of this meeting, on behalf of the Ministry of Culture of the Republic of Belarus, National Commission for UNESCO, and most importantly, on behalf of bearers of the ICH, first of all, Budslav villagers and the numerous of pilgrims, let me to express our gratitude to the committee member, evaluation body, and secretariat for the support and confidence that you demonstrate now in regards of the Belarusian nomination. Indeed, the fact of the international recognition is very considerable for Belarus. The icon of the Budslav Our Lady is the patroness of all Belarusian people and one of the symbols of our identity. The celebration in Budslav always takes place in an atmosphere of universal respect and unity. This event involves different groups of society, irrespective of religious, social status, gender, etc. Annually, At early July, thousands of pilgrims, including young people, hurried to visit Butslav to participate at the significant ceremony. This tradition has existed since 17th century and continued to transmit from generation to generation. Friendliness and mutual understanding among visitors of this event corresponds to the Belarusian tradition of tolerance and allows avoiding any religious and social conflicts. Today, the light that comes from Belarusian shrine expands to all people, to each of us. It brings goodness, love, and peace. This is a contribution of Belarus to the mosaic of common culture of humanity. Thanks to all who share this joy, this us. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations once again. Distinguished delegates, let's just move now to examine the nomination from the nomination of picking of Eva grass on Ozern Mountain, submitted by Bosnia-Herzegovina. I will now once again give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body to share with us the findings of its committee. Mr. Chairperson, Mr. Omari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is picking of Ivergrass on Ozren Mountain, submitted by Bosnia. Each year on 11th September, the day of the beheading of St. John the Baptist, inhabitants of all social, gender, and age groups from villages around Ozren Mountain go to Gostlich to pick Ivergrass. Iver is consumed as a tea, soaked in bran or mixed with honey, both for its curative and preventive effect. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that picking of Ivergrass on Ozren Mountain, initially carried out primarily for medicinal purposes, has served different socio, cultural, and integrating functions. Ivergrass products are used to prevent and heal illnesses and are also served to guests and used as symbolic gifts. The involvement, interaction, and joint efforts of different associations and groups during the picking of Ivergrass on Ozren Mountain enhances dialogue among communities. The Soko Club, a local NGO, strives to protect the area from any negative effects stemming from tourism and excessive numbers. The declaration of Gostlich as a protected cultural landscape will ensure the lasting protection of the natural settings. The nomination process was community-driven, led by the local NGOs that regularly participate in the event and oversee its sustainable practice. The evaluation body wishes to remind the state party to be aware of the possible negative effects of mass participation and develop a plan to prevent the risks caused by expected rise in tourism. The evaluation body further reminds the state party that updating is an important part of the inventorying process and invites it to include detailed information concerning this aspect in its next periodic report on the implementation of the convention at the national level. The evaluation board recommends that the committee inscribe picking of Ivergrass on Ozren Mountain on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Omare. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. And may I therefore suggest the committee to adopt the draft decision as shown on the screens as a whole. Seeing no objection, the draft 13-10B7 adopted. Our sincere congratulations to Bosnia-Herzegovina, who is going to share with us their views and also some tea. Thank you.
Dear Chairman, dear members of the committee, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's my great pleasure to greet you on behalf of the Bosnia and Herzegovina State Commission for Cooperation with UNESCO and on behalf of the Ministry of Civil Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina. I would like to thank you for your decision to inscribe the element picking of Iva grass on Ozren Mountain on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. For us, this is a very important day and a very special moment, especially for all inhabitants of Ozren Mountain who through generations take care about the practice of this element. This is the third element from Bosnia and Herzegovina inscribed on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, and we are so proud of it. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to all of you on today's decision that will additionally contribute to the promotion of this element and its transmission to future generations. Also, I confirm our strong commitment to implementation of decision and recommendations of the committee and the provisions of the UNESCO Convention for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage. I want to thank our host for hospitality and to congratulate for excellent organization on this event. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations once again. We now move to the examination of the nomination from China of the Loom medicinal basing of Sowa Rigpa knowledge and practices concerning life, health, and illness prevention and treatment among the Tibetan people in China. Let me once again invite the chairperson of the evaluation body to share with us their findings. Mr. Omari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is Loom Medicinal Pathing of Sowa Rigpa, Knowledge and Practices Concerning Life, Health and Illness Prevention and Treatment among the Tibetan people in China, submitted by China. Loom is the traditional knowledge and practices of bathing in natural hot springs, herbal water, or steam to adjust the balance of the body and mind, ensure health, and treat illness. The element plays a key role in improving health conditions, fostering a social code of behavior, and promoting respect for nature. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that Loom medicinal pathing of Sowa Rigpa, knowledge and practice concerning life, health, and illness, prevention and treatment among the Tibetan people in China is a complex medicinal practice originating in a traditional environment that has evolved to become a respected part of institutionalized medicine in Tibet and several other provinces in China. The element is an important part of the daily life of the Tibetan people that fosters respect for social cohesion, inspire dialogue among other communities about practices associated with health, prevention and the treatment of illnesses, and encourage the sustainable management of natural resources. The safeguarding measures proposed clearly respond to the identified needs, whereas documentation, research, and promotional activities supplement the measures to ensure viability of the element. The concerned communities, individual peers, experts, and research institutions participated actively in the preparation of the nomination file through workshops and working committees. The evaluation body wishes to commend the state party for submitting a file that underlines the importance of traditional knowledge concerning nature and the universe and offers a positive example of the sustainable relationship between human beings and the environment. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe Loom medicinal pathing of Sowa Rigba, knowledge and practices concerning life, health and illness prevention and treatment among the Tibetan people in China on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omare. In this case also, the Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment. And may I suggest that we adopt the draft decision as a whole. The draft now appears on the screens. I see no objection. Therefore, draft decision 13-10B8 is duly adopted. Congratulations to China, to whom I now give the floor. China, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please allow me to present you our Vice Minister of Culture and Tourism for the remarks, and I will do the interpretation right after.
谢谢主席先生。我谨代表中华人民共和国文化和旅游部和我的代表团，向全体委员国、审查机构以及保护非物质文化遗产公约秘书处表示诚挚的谢意。 感谢你们为审查藏医药预法以及将其列入代表作名录所做的积极努力。这是中国列入有关非遗名录名册中第4个属于有关自然界和宇宙的知识和实践领域的非遗项目。藏医药预法是中国藏族民众有关生命健康和疾病防治的传统知识和实践，与他们的日常生活息息相关。 该遗产项目既体现了社区民众通过沐浴防病、疗疾的民间经验，也是传统藏医理论在当代健康实践中的继承和发展。我们相信，藏医药预法列入代表作名录，有助于提升非物质文化遗产的可见度，并提高对其重要意义的认知，促进不同民族关于生命健康和尊重自然的对话。 体现了人类与环境间的可持续关系，同时也体现出国际社会对保护传统知识与实践类非物质文化遗产的重视。中国将积极履行保护承诺，努力提高该遗产项目的存续力，使其得以不断的传承发展，让这一宝贵的传统知识和实践惠及更多民众。谢谢。
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism of the People's Republic of China and my delegation, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to all the committee members, the evaluation body, and the Secretariat of the Convention for your great efforts and contributions in the evaluation and examination, as well as the inscription of the elements on the representative list. This is the fourth inscribed element of China in the domain of knowledge and practices concerning nature and the universe. Loom medicinal basin of Zoarba is traditional knowledge and practices concerning life, health, and illness prevention and treatment among the Tibetan people in China. commonly practiced in their everyday life. The element embodies folk experiences in illness prevention and treatment and reflects the transmission and development of traditional Tibetan medicine theories in present-day health practice. We believe that its inscription on the representative list will contribute to enhanced visibility and awareness of the significance of the intangible cultural heritage, to inspiring dialogues among different nations on life, health, and respect for nature. The inscription demonstrates the global attention to the importance of traditional knowledge and practices. China will work hard to fulfill its safeguarding commitment. We would spare no effort to ensure the sustained viability and frequent practices and transmission of the elements, so that a wider range of the communities and people would benefit from this valuable traditional knowledge and practice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, China, and congratulations once again. Dear members, we now proceed to examine the nomination of Croatia regarding Medimuska Poveka, a folk song from Međimurje. May I ask the chairperson of the evaluation body, please, to brief us on this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is Medmulska Bobevka, a folk song from Medmulj, submitted by Croatia. Medmulska Bobevka, a folk song from Medmulj region, was historically predominantly a soloist folk genre practiced by women, but nowadays it is performed by individuals and groups, men and women. It is practiced in a broad range of social contexts, from solitary music making to family and community happenings, work gatherings, religious events, and performances within and outside of Medmurje. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfied all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that Medmulska Bobevka, a folk song from Medmulj, is a natural, regular part of the everyday lives of inhabitants of the Medmulj region, accompanying day-to-day activities as well as festival and ceremonial events. The element represents values shared and common to intangible cultural heritage, in that can only be transmitted through music. The safeguarding measures focuses on community-driven educational activities, continuous field research, and systematic archiving of collected material. All the major stakeholders were involved, nominating the file together with the researchers and experts from the Ministry of Culture. The evaluation board recommends that the committee inscribe Medmulska Popevka, a folk song from Medmulj, on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For this nomination also, the Bureau did not receive any request for debate, and may I therefore suggest that we adopt the draft decision as shown on the screens as a whole. Do I have the consent of all members? Adopted. Congratulations once again. May I invite Croatia to say a few words and to share with us a video
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Thank you, dear delegates and dear members of the committee. We must not forget that the groups and in many cases individuals plays the important role in the production, safeguarding, maintenance and recreation of the intangible cultural heritage and of course enrich culture, diversity and human creativity of the world. Međimurska popevka in its richness and variability represents values and shared and common to intangible cultural heritage in general. In particular, it concerns the meaning of life and wisdom and that can only be transmitted through music. Popevka is a natural regular part of everyday life of inhabitants of the Međimurje region, accompanying day-to-day activities as well as festive and ceremonial events. As a living tradition, the element has evolved in terms of performance styles and performance gender. However, very important is that the women remain the central tradition barriers, bearing primary responsibility for the transmission of the element.
Dear Mr. Chair, as we are taking the floor for the first time, we would like to thank you for your warm hospitality on beautiful Mauritius. People and bearers of Međimurska popevka will be very happy and even more motivated to safeguard it and transmit it to the future generation. And as we say in Croatia, the best way to say thank you is by a song.
Uprem oči v to nebo visoko, tam ja vidim svetle zvezde igraju.
Međimurska popevka obuhvaća tradicijske napjeve iz najsjevernije Međimurske županije Republike Hrvatske. Kad se pojedinac njome tješi i ohrabruje, kontekst izvedbe je intiman. Tijekom vremena njezin je autor zaboravljen. Ona u generacijskom usmenom prenošenju postaje svojina lokalne društvene zajednice.
Riječ je o jednoglasnim napjevima širokih melodija koji teku neusiljeno, slobodno, kao prirodno se stapajući sa ritmom riječi u interpretaciji samog teksta. Njihovoj posebnosti pridonosi i posebna tonska obojenost koju stvaraju starocrkveni modusi isprepleteni sa elementima pentatonike, što sve negdje pridaje upravo taj sjetan, pomalo tugaljiv, pa u nekim napjevima i arhaičan prizvuk.
Thank you very much. Our next nomination is from Cuba. Is a joint submission by Croatia, Cyprus, France, Greece, Italy, Slovenia, Spain, and Switzerland, and concerns the art of dry stone walling, knowledge, and technique. I'll invite the chairperson of the evaluation body to brief us on this particular inscription. Mr. Omari, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is Art of Dry Stone Walling, Knowledge and Techniques, submitted by Croatia, Cyprus, France, Greece, Italy, Slovenia, Spain, and Switzerland. The art of dry stone walling concerns the knowledge related to making stone constructions by stacking stones upon each other without using any other materials except sometimes dry soil. The stability of the structure is ensured through the careful selection and placement of the stones and play a vital role in preventing landslides, floods, and avalanches, and in combating erosion and dissatisfaction of the land. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies all the 5 criteria for inscription in the representative list. The evaluation body considered that the art of dry stone walling, knowledge and techniques in a living tradition which has become increasingly well developed for the sake of the sustainable management of cultural heritage, agricultural land, human dwellings and their environment. The art of dry stone combines a widespread technique that promotes shared nature of traditional know-how, which illustrates the fundamental role of intangible cultural heritage in the creation and maintenance of the living environment. The proposed safeguarding plan in all the submitting states focuses primarily on the protection of existing dry stone monuments and sites with the involvement of all the stakeholders, communities, and their associations. The safeguarding plan and the entire nomination file was the result of intensive discussions among the communities and the relevant organizations. The evaluation body wishes to commend the state parties for submitting an exemplary file prepared with the utmost care, which testifies to the spirit of the convention in terms of international cooperation. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe art of dry stone walling, knowledge and techniques on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. May I straight away request committee members that we adopt the draft decision as the big family is ready for celebration behind us. Can you have it on the screen? I see really no objection, and I declare that draft decision 13-10B10 duly adopted. Thank you and congratulations. It's very comforting to see unity with a big cultural family joined together. And I am told that Greece has the privilege to talk on behalf of all the countries, following which there will be a video transmission. I give the floor to Greece.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Distinguished members of the committee, dear members of the evaluation body, on behalf of the communities of practitioners of our 8 states, on behalf of the NGOs that helped in the submission of this nomination file, we wish to thank you for your thorough examination of our common file and the positive, very positive indeed, we are honored, evaluation of its merits. We also wish to thank our hosts, Mauritius, for their warm hospitality and making this meeting possible. The 8 state parties, Croatia, Cyprus, France, Greece, Italy, Slovenia, Spain, and Switzerland that collaborated for this common nomination file regard this humble building technique as an exemplary manifestation of the potential that traditional knowledge presents for management of natural resources in an environmentally responsible manner. In all the regions of our 8 states, the knowledge of the specific weather patterns, geological conditions, and local stone is fundamental for the practicing of the element. And this knowledge is acquired mainly through non-formal education. It is orally transmitted. Nevertheless, in some cases, it is almost as accurate as the data in the analysis of natural scientists and as reliable as the structures made by highly trained architects and engineers. On the same time, building new dry stone works and repairing the old ones fosters the formation of strong communal bonds among the practitioners. I will not go through all the merits of this important local knowledge and technique, since the file elaborates on the many merits the art of dry stone walling presents for sustainable management of natural resources, as well as for social cohesion. I just invite you to have a closer look at the documentation, and I'm sure that many state representatives in the room will realize that there are communities in their states that practice the art of dry stone walling, adjusted, of course, to the specific local conditions. On behalf of the communities of the Bears, in all 8 state parties, we invite you to participate in the next cycle in an enlargement of the inscribed element, so that the inscription will reflect the ubiquitousness of practitioners of the art of dry stone almost all over the world. And now, instead of further talk, we invite you to watch a very short movie created by the participants in the 16th SPS Congress. SPS is the International Scientific Society for Dry Stone, the biggest international NGO we collaborated with. The Congress took place in Menorca in the end of October last, and they celebrate the favorable draft decision which they had just been informed. Thank you.
Thank you.
La terre, les paysans du monde entier, les muraillers du monde entier disent
Viva la piedra seca, gracias UNESCO.
Vive la pierre sèche, merci UNESCO.
Živia suhozid, hvala UNESCO.
Slaba trochomura, merci, viva l'UNESCO.
Vive la pierre sèche, merci l'UNESCO.
Vive la pierre sèche, merci l'UNESCO.
Visca la pedra seca, gracias UNESCO.
Hvala UNESCO!
Vive la pierre sèche, merci l'UNESCO.
Visca la pedra seca, gracias UNESCO.
Visca la pedra seca, gracias UNESCO.
Visca la pedra seca, gracias UNESCO.
Lang lebe Liechtenmauer, danke UNESCO.
Vive la pierre sèche, merci l'UNESCO.
Visca la pedra seca, gracias UNESCO.
Vive la pierre sèche, merci l'UNESCO.
Vive la pierre sèche et merci l'UNESCO.
Vive la pierre sèche et merci l'UNESCO.
We love dry stone, thanks UNESCO. Vive la pierre sèche et merci l'UNESCO. Vive la pierre sèche et merci l'UNESCO.
Vive la pierre sèche et merci l'UNESCO.
Visca la pedra seca, gracias UNESCO.
Gracias.
Vive la pierre sèche, merci l'UNESCO.
Thank you. And congratulations once again for the 8 submitting states and for the big community of bearers. We will now consider the nomination of the festive of Las Parandas in the center of Cuba, submitted by Cuba. May I request the chairperson of the evaluation body to brief us on this application.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is Festivity of Las Barandas in the center of Cuba, submitted by Cuba. Festivity of Las Barandas was held for the first time in 1820 in the town of Remedios. It's now celebrated by 18 communities in the center of Cuba, mostly taking place towards the final months of the year. Everyone in the 18 communities, regardless of their social class, gender, age, religion, professional background, is involved in the festival. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that festivity of Las Barandas in the center of Cuba involves many different categories of practitioners whose strong identification with the element is demonstrated every year through their innovative creation of floats.
Please. You can invite us this afternoon for a big party, but right now, let us hear the chairperson with nomination of Cuba, please. Please proceed,
Let me
chairperson.
proceed. The evaluation body considered that the festivity of Las Barandas in the center of Cuba involves many different categories of practitioners whose strong identification with the element is demonstrated every year through their innovative creation of flats, decorations, and other associated artifacts. The element demonstrates the potential of intangible cultural heritage to integrate different skills, professional and cultural expressions aimed at facilitating intergenerational communication and cultural dialogue. A coherent set of safeguarding measures proposed include documentation, in-depth research into the social and cultural context of the element, and popularizing and promotional activities. The practitioners of the element initiated the nomination process and actively participated through workshop and educational activities. The evaluation body wishes to remind the state party that updating is an important part of the inventorying process and invites it to include detailed information concerning this aspect in its next periodic report on the implementation of the convention at the national level. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe festivity of Las Barandas in the center of Cuba on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omare. In this case also, we did not receive any request for debate or amendment. And may I ask, therefore, the committee members to adopt the draft decisions as shown on the screen as a whole? Decision 13, Comp 10B11, adopted. Congratulations, Cuba. You have the floor, and also we are ready to watch your video. Thank you.
Gracias, señor presidente. Señor presidente, estimados miembros del Consejo y colegas, vivimos con especial emoción la inscripción de las parrandas de la región central de Cuba en la lista indicativa del Patrimonio Inmaterial de la UNESCO. Estas festividades promueven la identidad cultural de los pueblos de la región central de Cuba. Caracterizadas por la competitividad cultural entre dos barrios en que se divide cada pueblo, la festividad se convierte en un espacio en que confluyen el diálogo cultural, el respeto a la identidad y la diversidad de cada barrio. La parranda es una festividad profundamente popular, organizada por y para el pueblo. La implicación de sus portadores en su concepción y desarrollo se refleja en sus trabajos de plaza, carrozas y el arte de la pirotecnia. Cada portador se convierte en un artista en un creador del diseño, la arquitectura, la música, la danza, la construcción de réplicas de monumentos y disfraces para los personajes representados en las carrozas de cada barrio. Cada barrio, cada bando reproduce una leyenda o historia de la cultura de la humanidad que hace suya por distante que sea, como si encontraran en Cuba un sitio de encuentro para el diálogo y la tolerancia. Canciones, bailes y fuegos artificiales están presentes a lo largo de toda la celebración. Queremos reconocer a todas las personas que han hecho posible esta inscripción, en especial a los portadores y comunidades de cada barrio de las 18 parrandas que integran este registro. También a todas las personas e instituciones, en especial al Museo de las Parrandas, que contribuyen a mantener la vida de esta tradición patrimonial de la nación cubana. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cuba, and congratulations again. The Bureau will now move to examine the nomination from Czechia regarding handmade production of Christmas tree decorations from blown glass beads. May I straight away give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body to brief us on this application. Mr. Omari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is handmade production of Christmas tree decorations from blown glass beads submitted by Czechia. The handmade production of Christmas tree decorations from blown glass beads is a traditional practice connected with glass production in North Bohemia, where blown glass beads have been produced since the late 18th century. Besides providing bearers with a source of income, the practice strengthens family relations and encourages intergenerational relationship. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfied criteria RE3 and RE5 for inscription on the representative list. The submitting state has demonstrated how the viability of the element is being ensured through a variety of safeguarding measures, ranging from inventorying initiatives to exhibitions and awareness raising. The file demonstrates the state's commitment to supporting the safeguarding of the element through provision of financial resources and development of a policy framework. The element was identified with the participation of the communities concerned. However, the evaluation body considered that the information is not sufficient to satisfy criteria R1, R2, and R4. The description of the element makes frequent reference to a parent factory, which is presented as the main intermediary between practitioners and the wider public, without any explanation of the relations between the tradition bearers and the factory. The file fails to present the nature and function of this factory, which raises severe concerns as to the risk of the monopoly of the practice by one entity. The nomination places a heavy emphasis on the commercial and business aspects of the practice, which is detrimental to promotion of the social and cultural functions of the element. Furthermore, the file does not demonstrate how the inscription will contribute to the visibility of ICH in general. Although the file states that practitioners have participated in the preparation of the nomination, it does not provide sufficient information to understand their exact role in the process, as their participation seems to have been achieved at all times through a parent factory as the main broker. In addition, no consent from the parent factory was provided, whereas it's presented as a key stakeholder throughout the nomination process. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends that the committee refers handmade production of Christmas tree decorations from blown glass heads to the submitting state. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The Bureau did not receive any requests for amendment, but we did receive a request from Poland to open the debate. May I give the floor to Poland?
Thank you, Chair. Poland has asked to open discussion on the nomination, the handmade production of Christmas tree decorations from blown glass beads presented by the Republic of Czechia. We are convinced that there is a need to give to the state party the opportunity to share with us additional information on the nomination file. Frankly speaking, knowing the expertise of our Czech colleagues, we have been surprised that 3 of 5 criteria of this nomination have not been evaluated as satisfied. And we would like to ask the state party to elaborate, in particular on relations between the parent factory and the tradition bearers, as well as on how selling of these decorations is contributing to sustainable development of the community and of this practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Poland. Do we have any committee members who wish to intervene, or should Kazakhstan?
Thank you, Chairman. We support Poland's proposal to open the file for discussion. Representing both rural artisanry in Czechia and renowned brand of Bohemian glass-blowing traditions, we find the element satisfying most, if not all, convention requirements for ICH. Considering general struggle many artisans and artists face in advertising and selling their products, we find the role of the mediator factory as a distributor quite helpful and not really jeopardizing the viability of the element. For the artisans, as the nomination states, enjoy full freedom of organizing their home-based workshops, managing their working hours, creating and inventing new designs, as well as transmitting skills within their families and communities. Therefore, the principle of commission and cooperation via the distributor factory can be perceived as an instrument to support local handicrafts by finding the customer market, providing regular income for craftsmen, maintaining quality standards, and popularizing workshop courses among youth. In this regard, we have a question to the state party on how would they explain the role of the factory and what improvements would they propose to their nomination, would they plan to the nomination in case it's not successful in this nomination cycle. Thank you.
Thank you, Kazakhstan. You joined Poland in the same issue?
Yes.
And if there is any other Palestine?
Shukran Sayyid al-Rais. Just to support the two interventions from Poland and from Kazakhstan, and to thank also the Czech Republic for presenting such element. At this session we have two elements related to Christmas, and the two elements are fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. May I now, if there is no other member of the committee who wishes to intervene, invite Czechia to respond to the questions of the committee members. Czechia, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished members of the committee, dear colleagues, we are very grateful for the opportunity to comment on our nomination. First of all, we would like to thank the evaluation body as well as the committee members for detailed evaluation of our file. We can without hesitation confirm to the committee members that if 3 criteria appear not to have been met in the eyes of the evaluation body, this is, in our opinion, due to a combination of inaccurate formulations and misunderstanding, which we very much regret. We acted in a good faith that the information entered in the form was sufficiently clear and obvious. We have done our utmost to ensure that we provided the most comprehensive response to the R1 criterion and accurately described how this factory, maybe more family workshop, actually operates with a typical manufacturing division of labor with individual manufacturers working at home. We would like to use this occasion to assure you that there is not a monopoly on the production of this particular kind of Christmas decorations, but a workshop like all those that existed in the region half a century ago. This is the only one that has prevented the typical savoir-faire from being forgotten and succeeded in preserving it and handing it on to future generations through patient work with individual practitioners. It is the guardian of local patterns that were preserved from the past, but it allows also the creativity of individuals, so element is not trapped in conservative forms, but is constantly changing. The workshop is not licensed. It does not prevent anyone else who is interested in operating this type of production. On the contrary, for example, the workshop provides already semi-products for hobby production. As far as the R2 criterion is concerned, we have replied truthfully that the attention the media in the Czech Republic gives to inscriptions on the representative list encourages public interest in the area of intangible cultural heritage, particularly concerning this element which is associated in our country with the general sharing of traditional Christmas rituals. This element cannot therefore simply be seen as a commercial good because its role as a Christmas symbol is far stronger, which we possibly failed to emphasize sufficiently. The representative list could be enriched by another element of the calendar or New Year rituals, in this case reflecting traditional Central European Christmas practices. The connection between the widely known element and the representative list will of course raise interest in intangible cultural heritage as such. The fact that this element represents a glass craft, a technology that does not yet appear on the list, would also contribute to its greater diversity. As far as the R4 criterion is concerned, there is probably some misunderstanding here, because both representatives of the family workshop are not only among the signatories consenting to the nomination as spokespeople for the other bearers, but also they are guides to the film which is part of the nomination documentation. For these reasons, it was important for us to be able to address you, because we believe that our element is an obvious part of the intangible cultural heritage and could be of real benefit to the representative list. However, we fully respect the work of the evaluation body and are prepared to clarify our arguments and to resubmit the revised nomination during the next cycle, unless the committee decides otherwise. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for all those clarifications. And our earnest hope is that in due course, this gets inscribed and to enrich our cultural, intangible cultural heritage. If I have the permission of the committee members, could we now move to adopt the draft decision shown on the screens as a whole? Decision 13-10B12. Poland?
I'm very sorry we're a bit late, but at the beginning of examination of adoption of this draft decision, we would like to ask evaluation body for the response on this statement just presented by Czech Republic.
Yes, Mr. Omari.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In our explanation, the way we saw this kind of file, it was not explaining clearly how the other stakeholders were involved, because it emerged to us that the factory played a very big role on this nomination, and essentially at the end of it, we didn't see anywhere where they gave us a consent. That is our interpretation. At the same time, we didn't see it coming out clearly how criteria RE2 is met in terms of raising the visibility of this element. It didn't come out clearly. So that is our position, and if I may echo what you heard from the Secretariat, when a referral is given to a nomination, is not a rejection. The information that was contained in the file was not sufficient to enable us determine that recommendation, that it satisfied those kind of criteria. That's why we reached that kind of recommendation. Thank you.
Mr. Omari. Palestine, please.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. أود أولا أن أشكر وفد بولندا للسؤال الذي توجه به للهيئة التقييمية، وأشكر الهيئة التقييمية لإجابتها. But more principally, I would like to address our sincere thanks to the elegant way that the Czech Republic dealt with their file. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Palestine, can we now move to adopt the draft decision are shown on the screens as a whole? I see no objection. Draft decision 13-10B12 duly adopted. We have already dealt, ladies and gentlemen, with 10B13, which means that we move straight away to 10B14 regarding a nomination for the skills related to the perfume in Pays de Grasse, the cultivation of perfume plants, the knowledge and processing of natural raw materials, and the art of perfume composition, submitted by France. May I straight away request the chairperson of the evaluation body to brief us on this application. Mr. Omari, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is the skills related to perfume in Pays de Grasse, the cultivation of perfume plants, the knowledge and processing of natural raw materials, and the art of perfume composition submitted by France. The skills related to perfume in Pays de Grasse entails the cultivation of perfume plants, the knowledge and processing of natural raw materials, and the art of perfume composition. The practice involves a wide range of communities and groups. Perfume forges social bonds and provides an important source of seasonal labor. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfied all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that the skills related to perfume production in Pays de Grèce are transmitted by 3 groups of interrelated, interdependent traditional bearers, thereby creating social bonds across society and generations. The practice encourages cultural dialogue with other communities and serves as a symbol of community's identity. The community of practitioners, traditional bearers, and other relevant stakeholders widely supported the nomination process. The evaluation body wishes to invite the state party to take into consideration the high risk of over-commercialization of the element and encourage it to remain focused on the cultural and social aspects of the element when planning and implementing the safeguarding measures. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe the skills related to perfume in Pays de Grèce, the cultivation of perfume plants, the knowledge and processing of natural raw materials, and the art of perfume composition on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omari. In this case also, we did not receive any request for debate or amendment, and may I therefore ask the committee to adopt the draft decision as shown on the screens as a whole. I see no objection. Draft decision 13-10B14 duly adopted. Thank you. Félicitations à la France et je vous donne la parole.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Merci à l'UNESCO pour l'inscription de ce 17e élément français du patrimoine culturel immatériel. Merci au comité et à sa présidence mauricienne, qui est tout à fait remarquable et que je félicite. Merci à l'organe d'évaluation et je donne la parole maintenant à Monsieur le sénateur Leleu. Monsieur le sénateur, c'est à vous.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs, Mesdames et Messieurs, l'élément dont vous avez accepté l'inscription se caractérise par ses valeurs d'universalité, de convivialité et de dialogue. Il élève l'esprit par la beauté qu'il inspire. Et l'humanité a bien besoin de beauté pour survivre. Le parfum est symbole de rêve, de partage, d'offrande. Il est un don de la nature au service d'un lien subtil et universel entre les hommes. Il est un langage qui transcende les langues, les cultures, les races, les religions et les peuples. Ce sont des valeurs et ces valeurs que porte notre territoire du Pays de Grâce, dépositaire de savoir-faire transmis de génération en génération et qui joue un rôle majeur de médiation sociale. Lien entre les familles, médiation en milieu scolaire, hospitalier, carcéral, vecteur pédagogique d'insertion sociale pour de jeunes adultes autistes qui cultivent au sein d'un établissement spécialisé des roses, du jasmin et des tubéreuses. Facteur de dialogue interculturel sur notre territoire entre communautés de cueilleuses européennes, tziganes, maghrébines, l'élément est également au service du dialogue international. Durant ces 10 années de procédure, notre association, porteuse de la démarche, a pu tisser et nourrir de merveilleuses relations avec des communautés parties prenantes de notre élément dans de nombreux pays du monde. La Bulgarie, l'Inde, l'Égypte, la Chine, la Corée, le Japon, le Sénégal et bien d'autres. De nombreuses mesures de sauvegarde ont déjà été lancées. Extension des zones agricoles dans le plan local d'urbanisme, installation d'établissements de formation et de transmission, lancement d'une chaire UNESCO portée par l'Université de Nice-Côte d'Azur en partenariat avec des universités indiennes et algériennes. Mesdames et messieurs les ambassadeurs, mesdames et messieurs les membres du comité, au nom de l'association Patrimoine vivant du Pays de Grâce, de ses praticiens et de tout notre territoire, je vous remercie. Je remercie les membres du comité, l'organe d'évaluation, l'ensemble des États qui ont soutenu notre démarche, le ministère de la Culture de la République française et bien sûr, monsieur l'ambassadeur de France délégué auprès de l'UNESCO, Laurent Stefanini.
Merci pour la France et surtout pour mes félicitations, monsieur le sénateur. Je sais combien ce dossier vous tient à cœur. Et mesdames et messieurs, je vous invite tout de suite à voir un petit vidéo sur cette inscription. Merci beaucoup et bravo encore une fois à la France. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it is a good time for us to suspend this session. And tomorrow, as usual, the Bureau will meet at 9 a.m. And may I request all our Bureau members, especially our Vice Chairpersons and Rapporteur, to be with us. And I'll now pass over to the Secretary for a few practical announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The ICH NGO Forum will be meeting in a plenary session for the elections of its steering committee at 6 p.m. in the amphitheater on the first floor. For those states who wish to hold performances or present audiovisual material after the examination of their nomination files, I would like to remind them once again to inform the Secretariat as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. With that said, I declare today's session closed. Thank you.